funny. We'll get to this because we're going to talk Super Bowl with our guest tonight, a first-time guest with a familiar last name to our viewers. David Didinger will be joining us in just a second, Chet. But I wanted to say to you, and I'm going to ask David about this because I thought he might actually be at the boat parade they had in Tampa today. And it looked like a lot of fun. I wonder if Tom Brady ever thought he would be in a Super Bowl victory parade in shorts and a T-shirt and sloshed, by the way.
I saw the video. He looks like Tom had a little bit of the tequila.
That's right.
Let's get our guest on.
Let's welcome NFL Films David Didinger to Philly Pressbox Radio. David, welcome.
How you guys doing?
Doing
Hey,
great.
David. All right, we are so glad to finally be able to do this with you. Bill and I have talked about having you on with us since actually a few weeks after Super Bowl 52, and better late than never. We're going to talk about that night, of course, which Eagles fans will never forget. We'll do that in a bit, but first, David, you've covered, I guess, 20 plus Super Bowls now, including this past Sunday's, where Tom Brady won a 7th ring. Not a great game, but what was your experience down there in Tampa this time around?
It was different. It was something I wasn't used to over the last year or so because everything is open in Florida. And it was eye-opening. I could tell you that, walking by some places and thinking, I'm not going in there. I got cross-eyed looks that I was wearing a mask. And for a part of it, it was very refreshing to be able to walk down the street without a mask on when there's nobody around. It was a little bit normal, so that was nice. But the game, our assignments are different every time we do something. So the assignment we have players mic'd up. So I basically follow one player from the time he comes out for warm-ups till the time he walks off under confetti.
Who'd you get this time?
This year I had Travis Kelce.
Nice.
Very good. Well, I have to ask you, let's jump back to the Eagles for just a second and that Super Bowl. And we know that you had Nick Foles. Man, what a great thing that turned out being. But we also know that you grew up an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Right? You grew up in Philadelphia, an Eagles fan. You spent a lot of time with your dad down at the stadiums and all that. How hard was it to do your job and not want to jump up and down and cheer and find your dad give a hug?
It's actually pretty easy. You get into the game a little bit, but I asked him about that. I said, when I start doing this, when I started shooting games, and I got to do Eagles games, a couple times a year, we go wherever the NFL assigns us to go. So when I did get an Eagles game, I basically would say, how do you turn it off? Like, how are you not a fan? So listening to him when I was growing up, how everything in a press box is very quiet and professional, you do learn how to turn it off. And that game was difficult to turn it off. But I did. And having the Nick Foles wire that game was the highlight of my NFL Films career by a mile. But I was able to be a fan when he left the field for the post-game MVP press conference and he was gone. I was able to turn off my camera and be a fan when I started crying.
Yeah, we're going to show a little bit of that later on. But first of all, since Bill mentioned that you were wired with Nick Foles, I got to see this one more time. We haven't had a whole lot to cheer about in Philly over the last couple of years. So you've seen this probably 400 times, but I'll tell you, I never get tired of watching it. So
me neither.
Here we go. One more time.
And the Eagles will keep the offense out there in a 4th and goal from the 1.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Hold on. Here we go.
I would feel better at this point taking the 3 points. I think it's a risk.
Here we go.
And if you make it, it's great. But if you don't make it, it's a big momentum swing.
Philly special. Ready? Here we go. Tonight. Easy. Kill. Lane.
Goes directly to Clement. Clement reverses it. And it is a touchdown by Nick Foles.
Let's go. Let's go, baby.
That was unbelievable.
Foles, why were you so open? Why were you so open? I sold it. I did some acting. I had a wide 9. I was like, ooh.
I love that.
Now the last shot was actually mine. The one where he's sitting on the bench. The ground shots, I think, was a guy named Howard Neef Jr.
Okay.
Whose dad, Howard Neef Sr., was a legend, one of the original tight on the spiral guys at NFL Films.
I love Foles' reaction. That was great. That was great.
Did you know, David, as this play unfolded, and did you say, man, I am sitting on gold here. This is one that's going to go down forever.
I knew it was going to get a lot of play, but I never knew it was going to come out with its own name. And that's what made the shots at NFL Films so special, is when you are part of the immaculate reception or the catch or the holy roller or the drive. When in the post-game press conference, when the coach says, "Oh yeah, we call that Philly special," there's the name of the play. So it was pretty cool to be one of the 2 camera guys and audio guys that were on that wire that day. It was something special.
Very good. All right, so let's get back to the Super Bowl this week. Tom Brady is Tom Brady. I guess we like him or we don't. But we saw something special. You've been covering these Super Bowls for years and years. Do you have a favorite player? Is Tom Brady? Are you a fan of Tom Brady, or is it just work? Or what's your favorite Super Bowl?
Other than the Nick Foles Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Trying to think what was my favorite one. I would say probably the Patriots-Falcons Super Bowl, because it was such a great comeback. And that night I had Dan Quinn mic'd up. That's who my assignment was. So I'm listening to the coach thinking at halftime, like, said to my sound man, I said, we got the winning coach. Like, there's no way they're going to lose this game. And they never changed. He never told anybody to stop throwing the ball and run the ball. That was a memorable game.
Yeah, it sure was. Hey, going back to the Eagles game and the aftermath, what's going on in this picture, David, right here?
That was just kind of letting loose at the end of the game. It was we dropped our equipment off already downstairs in our storage room to be shipped back to Mount Laurel, and we were able to get on the field. And I thought, I got to get a picture of Lane and confetti.
Oh, yeah.
And I have my credential and confetti in a picture frame over in my entertainment center, so that'll stay there forever.
Yeah, that's a keeper.
That is a keeper.
Well, hey, David, as you were growing up, you were a football player, I guess, over there at Cherry Hill East a little bit, played a lot of ice hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess your dad obviously, was around sports the whole time. Did he push you into sports, or he kind of just let you play and have a good time? And you ended up, I guess, at NFL Films doing the starting in the shipping department, right? Started at the bottom, no freebies.
Started in the mailroom. Was able to have weekends off. Obviously, working in the mailroom, I had the weekends off. So getting to know everybody in the building made it easy to transition into different departments. Once you got to know somebody, I remember being in the shipping department and delivering all the credentials that would get shipped in from teams, and delivering all the film that got shipped in from Kodak to the camera department. Getting to know the people in the departments, walking in the field operations and saying, "Hey, I'm the guy in shipping. Here's the credentials this week. And by the way, do you need a helper?" And that's how it all started. It was, running film between the film loader and the cameraman in Baltimore and Washington and New York and Philly and New England and Pittsburgh. It was really it's a dream come true when you actually start out at where I did and to end up where we are.
Well, before that, though, David, a little birdie told me you could have been a great chef. You ended up in something completely different. How did you go from culinary school to thinking maybe the chef thing isn't for me to becoming a cameraman?
Well, I had a day off at the restaurant I was working. I graduated from culinary school. I had the day off from the restaurant I was working in. My dad called me up and said, "Hey, we're doing a shoot at Temple tomorrow. Do you want to head up?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll go." So I went up and met a couple of the guys, and one of the guys, Craig McEwen, said to me, "Oh, you're the cook, right?" I said, "Yeah, I had the day off today, so my dad invited me up." He goes, "Oh, that's cool." He says, I'm leaving the shipping department to go into the camera department full time. Do you want my job? And I went, yeah, sure. I'll take it. So he says, okay, here, call this number, tomorrow and talk to Lee Fiorentino. She's the one that runs the mailroom and the shipping and receiving. And I went in, talked to Lee, and the rest is history. I went in and gave my 2 weeks notice.
Nice.
Wow. Good story.
But
Hey,
my mom and dad never pushed me into any sport. I mean, the first sport I started playing was hockey when I was 5. That's when I started playing hockey, and I still play to this day. I played baseball in Cherry Hill, where I grew up. Played football when I got to Cherry Hill East, and played with a couple of first round draft picks and a rookie of the year. I mean, I played football and baseball with Todd Hollinsworth, who's now a broadcaster with the Miami Marlins, and I played on the same line with Darryl Sittler's son Ryan Sittler when Mr. Sittler was playing with the Flyers for that year.
wow.
Cool.
Good stuff. Hey, I also heard from that little birdie, David, that your mom was an Eagles cheerleader. True?
Yeah,
True.
I never knew that. Never knew that.
1979 to 1984, 85. I think she was the only cheerleader in the NFL with a 12-year-old son.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah. So it was great. I watched many a game from the tunnel where the visiting team came out at the vet. And my dad would keep an eye on me from the press box, and my mom was on the sideline, and they would just tell the security guard, hey, you just watch him. And there was no credentials back then, and so as a 12-year-old standing on the sidelines, it was a cool way to grow up on Sundays.
Well, Bill and I are going to talk about it later, the whole Carson Wentz mess. What's your take on it? How did this go so wrong over the last year and a half? They gave him the contract extension, and then they go and draft Jalen Hurts, and now all of a sudden Wentz is looking to get out of town. How did this go so bad so quickly?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't get involved in player personnel. That's my dad and the WIP guys can dig into that. I don't know. It just seemed like once he got hurt last year, there wasn't something quite right with him. And I kind of think he was living in the shadow of Nick Foles. And then just when he thinks he's coming out of the shadow, okay, Nick Foles is gone. And here you go. In the second round, they draft Jalen Hurts, and he's thinking, well, why are they doing this? And I kind of thought the same thing. I'm sitting there looking at there was a center that the Bills took, and there was another receiver. I think it was Denzel Mims was still there. And there was the linebacker that's with the Bills that had a really good year. There was a defensive back that's now with the Carolina Panthers that was there. So to take a quarterback, I kind of didn't understand that. But that's why Howie gets paid the big money, and I just shoot the games.
And how he's taking a lot of heat right now, too.
Oh, yeah.
He is.
That's-
I mean,
sure.
everything hit in 2017. So sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. The Wentz contract, think about it, it was actually a pretty good deal for what other quarterbacks were getting. I think they probably got a semi discount on what they would have paid for him a year later. So,
yeah. Well, hey, David, we always kid your dad when we have him on because he's one of our most regular guests, right, Chet? Still
16 times, yeah. He and Kevin Riley 16 times each,
16
yeah.
times, and
Kevin Riley's a good guy, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
Great.
we always make a big deal with him about being a Hall of Famer because it is a big deal, and he's such a modest guy about the whole thing. But what was it like when you won an Emmy?
Oh, well,
the Philly special. Now you're going to be modest too. Let's hear it.
That's got nothing to do with anything I did. I mean, believe me, it's an entire department, camera department at NFL Films that wins those awards. Nobody wins those awards individually, I don't think. I mean, you never get into something. NFL Films is like a team. It really is. And you never get into a team sport to win an individual award. So I never looked at an Emmy as look what I won. It would say, look what I got, look what Hank got, look what, Jim Barry got, look what Steve Andrich got, all the guys that are there. It's a team effort. And It's unbelievable the work that these guys do. I mean, the guys that are on the ground shooting those tight, slow motion, beautiful spirals, and the guys in the music that put it all together, the editors, the producers, our sound men on the sideline. It is one big team, and you win those awards as a team.
Hey, Chet, he's a chip off the old block. Sounds just like his dad, who didn't take one drop of credit either for being in the Hall.
No, he'll never take credit.
Yeah.
He's very humble.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, as Bill said, he's been with us 16 times over these past 6 years. We don't understand why he always says yes to us, but we certainly do appreciate it. And, David, I'm sure you've heard about it from people countless times over the past 3 years, but the meeting that you had with your dad after the Super Bowl, an hour or so later during the post-game show.
Yeah.
And before I get your response, let's just show it again, because I still get teary-eyed watching it every single time. So here it is.
There it is, a long time coming. David Didinger, who is who shoots for, there we go. That's a beautiful thing. A beautiful, beautiful thing. Oh my goodness.
It was just, to everybody that didn't have a chance to see this. I mean, my grandparents, my mom's parents, my Uncle Kevin. I mean, everybody that said this wasn't possible. And I've waited 44 years, and I swear I thought I'd never see this day.
Yeah,
and
but you did.
I'm a diehard Eagles fan, diehard Flyers fan, diehard Phillies fan, and Philadelphia just enjoy this, because I don't know when it's going to happen again, but boy, this is sure fun tonight.
To be able to share this with my son is it's beyond special.
Wow.
Yeah, it was that all came about. I said to him, if they win, I'm going to find you, because we tried to find each other. After the Phillies won the World Series in 2008. He was in the stands as a fan, and I was working the game in the Phillies dugout. So when all the national and local media lined up in front of the dugout, my camera became useless. And I looked up in the stands because I knew he was semi behind me. He was in one of the three sections behind me, and I couldn't find him. But I said, if they win this game, I will find you. And it was not supposed to take place on camera. That was Michael Barkhan's idea. But
good idea, though.
I thank Michael to this day. I think what you saw there is something that happened in every home in Northeast Philadelphia, every home in Mount Laurel, every home in Wilmington, Delaware, every home in Coatesville. It was just a father and a son that were, that they were just happy that this finally happened.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, so you just caught me off guard, because I didn't know you did the 2008 Phillies, because what I was going to ask you about is I know you shoot Flyers and Sixers and do some other things for NBC Sports Philadelphia. So,
right.
So what all do you have going on? Tell us more.
We do all the Phillies, all the Flyers, all the Sixers games for NBC Sports Philadelphia. And then during the football season on weekends, travel and work with NFL Films. Once the Flyers get knocked out of the playoffs, if they make the playoffs, sometimes me and a couple of the guys will go away for NBC National and do conference finals or Stanley Cup for NBC, and that's a lot of fun. So yeah, it's a pretty busy schedule, and lucky to do what I do.
Now, I can't believe this. I think your dad was telling a fib, but he said you work another job beyond all this.
Well, for now. I work at UPS in the morning because
my goodness.
Well, we don't get it's very difficult to get healthcare as a freelance camera operator. So I went to UPS, I guess it was 8 years ago, before I started getting all of these games, basically to get healthcare for my wife and my two daughters, who are now a junior at Camden Catholic. And my other daughter is a sophomore at Gwynedd Mercy University. So yeah, I wake up early in the morning and head over to Philly Airport, get in my little van and do my 8 stops through Montgomery County. And that's where I get my health care from. But that's going to end, I think, pretty soon.
Good for you.
Got a little surprise going on, huh? Good for you.
We'll see.
Good for you. So let's take that one step further. So you work 6 to whatever in the morning, and then you hustle to a stadium near you, and then get to bed at midnight-ish and do it again?
I always thought nobody slept less than my dad, and then there was me.
Hey, your dad is known as the king of low tech. You're not like that, are you?
Nah, I'm not as bad as him. not as bad as him.
You have a cell phone.
I do have a cell phone. I have a laptop. Yeah, he guy's an original. I mean,
Yes, he is.
It doesn't get any more old school than him, and it's awesome. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's great when people call me and go, "Can you get a hold of your dad?" I go, well, "How am I going to get a hold of him? You can't get a hold of him."
That's true.
Got to get him on the landline, right?
That's right. That's right.
So, hey, David, you speak to classes, and you do a lot of stuff at Rowan and at Temple. Talking to those guys, did you ever think that'd be part of what David Didinger ended up doing as he grew up?
No, it was Neil Hartman is director of, I guess it's like media television at Rowan, and he brings me in to speak to his class. I actually did it yesterday. He likes to do it like right after the Super Bowl when I get back, and then Rob Ellis at Temple teaches a class. It's kind of the same class at Temple, and I'm doing his class in late March. That's a lot of fun. That is a lot of fun.
Good stuff.
Well, speaking of fun, David, with first-time guests, we like to finish up with a little thing called that we call Fast Five.
Okay.
Where I'll hit you with 5 questions about random stuff and give us a brief answer about each. Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. Other than Super Bowl 52 and the whole Philly thing and the Dan Quinn memory, give us another favorite memory of the many Super Bowls that you covered. I hear the dogs.
Yeah, the dogs. I don't know. Somebody must have dropped a treat. I think the dogs are fighting. Okay, I need that question again.
Another Super Bowl memory from the many that you've covered, because I'm sure you have some great ones.
I'm trying to think. I definitely would say the Super Bowl 51. That was one. The Brady comeback. I would think my first Super Bowl I ever shot was the Eagles Patriots in Jacksonville. I worked.
Oh, wow.
I worked 6 Super Bowls before that. Definitely my first Super Bowl I've ever went to, and then the first one that I shot in Super Bowl 39.
We mentioned that you like all the other Philly teams as well. Are the Flyers or Sixers closer to winning a championship?
That's a good question. I mean, hockey's so different. I mean, if you get a hot goalie, they could ride hard through to the finals. You never know. I mean, how many 6, 7 seeds, have won the Stanley Cup over the last few years? The Sixers are one of those teams where, Joel Embiid is a bad landing away from hurting his back or hurting his knee, and Simmons is a spin move and kick out to the 3-point line from hurting his knee. If you looked at it right now, you would say the Sixers, but I don't know. It's hard to say because I think Brooklyn is going to be a tough team to beat when they get down to it.
Number 3, we mentioned that you went to culinary school and can cook. Did you have a signature dish, and do you still cook much today?
No, my wife is a fantastic cook.
He's not home to cook, Chet. He's not home.
I know.
I started dinner tonight. I put the chicken in the roaster
there you go.
Today, but I like doing it. I liked Italian. That was my favorite style, was Italian.
Speaking of food, I love food. Tuesday was National Pizza Day. What's your go-to pizza topping?
Pepperoni.
Me as well.
Pepperoni.
Love the pepperoni. Number 5, your dad and Glenn Macnow wrote a fantastic book about sports movies. What are 2 or 3 of your all-time favorite sports flicks?
Ooh, there's a lot of them. Bull Durham is a great one. Hoosiers is a great one. The Natural is a great one. North Dallas 40. Slapshot, obviously. Varsity. I mean, this is going to sound dumb, but I like Varsity Blues. I like Youngblood. I mean, you can name the program. The program. I mean, any kind of goofy '90s sports movie I was kind of into.
There you go.
Hey,
all right,
hey, David. I have one final question for you, not to do with Fast Five, but as we said, the boat parade today in Tampa for
I wasn't
the
there.
Buccaneers. You weren't there.
I was not
here.
there.
But take us back a couple years ago. Did you go to the parade in Philly? Did you work it, or
No,
did you go have a good time?
We had a Flyers game that night, and when the parade started, we had to park our cars instead of parking in Wells Fargo. They had it closed off. We had to park at Citizens Bank Park, so we were able to gather about a half hour early, and we were there when the parade left the link. We were right there against the railing when Jason Kelsey was riding the bicycle around with his mummer's outfit on. The parade all the double-decker buses went past us, and we walked right into the Wells Fargo Center and did the Flyers game that night.
Wow. Hey, I have a technical question. Speaking of shooting Flyers games, how many camera guys, when it's just on NBC Sports Philly, how many cameramen do they have, and what is your assignment? Do you follow the puck? Are you told to follow a specific line, or how does that work?
We have I do the reverse super slow-mo camera, which is the reverse angle. So there's four robotic cameras. Then there's a slash camera, 2 handhelds, a game camera, a tight camera, a high end zone camera, and me in reverse. So I would say there's probably 10 or 11 camera guys that work. All great. I mean, I couldn't ask for the crew at NBC Sports Philadelphia. We're all friends. We all have a great time together. So you do spend a lot of time away from home, but if you have to spend time away from home, they're a good bunch of guys to spend the time with.
Awesome.
Well, hey, David, I tell you what, this is a lot of fun, and we're glad we got to have you on finally. Like we said, we wanted to do it a couple of years ago. We just weren't able to make it happen.
Anytime.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the time, especially in your busy schedule.
No problem. Anytime you guys need me, you let me know. It would be good to get on with my dad together.
Oh, now you're talking.
Deal.
It could be his 17th time on.
There you go. All right.
We got a date. Thanks, David.
Appreciate you.
All right, guys. Thank you.
All right.